This video is brought to you by Squarespace.
Hey, indie filmmakers, I'm Nick Bodmer.
I'm Griffin Hammond, and today I have a magic box full of light.
Ooh, very nice.
This is the Aputure B7C. These are smart bulbs by Aputure called the B7C. They sent me this 8 light kit that comes in this cool little Pelican style case. And I want to talk about them today because I just started playing around with them.
Okay. These are what? These are just like regular. What's that mount called that a regular household light bulb uses? Like a Type A?
Yeah, I feel like it's like A19 or something. I can't remember what it is.
Oh, yeah. That sounds right. But that's what they are, right?
Yeah, they're just regular. Let me pull one out and I'll show you what these are. They're it's just a light bulb. But what's crazy right now that you can't see, Nick, is I'm holding this light bulb not plugged into anything. And it's lighting up at full power because it has a battery inside.
Oh, that's kind of cool. So they go in regular fixtures, but will operate totally independently.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think these are really designed to take onto set and replace all the practical lights on set, the light lamps and things like that, or ceiling lights, and just pop these in instead of real light bulbs, and solves a lot of filmmaking problems for you. You control the color, they don't flicker, they don't actually need power, so you could just have an unplugged lamp, and you could control all this stuff from your phone through Bluetooth.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So if there is power to the lamp, will that charge them?
Yes, they charge through AC. So actually this little box that it comes with is pretty cool. It's just a case and it has a little AC plug, little IEC computer style adapter on the side, and you can just plug in the whole box and they charge inside the box.
Oh, that's cool. So do they actually screw into the box then?
Yeah, except I like this box a lot because it's funny. I'm like really nerding about how great the box is. This is my favorite part. I like that it doesn't actually screw in. These are kind of like pop in, like tension.
Oh, okay. So easy to put them in and out, but then they also screw into a real fixture.
Right. Well, and I even like this box for not even for the Aputure bulbs. Like I can take one of my Philips Hue bulbs here and I can just pop it in. It's just a nice little box to like test bulbs out. Oh, except I'm not actually cool. Plugged in, so the Hue just proved my point that there's no power to this thing. These are all getting power on their own right now. Let me plug it back in.
So what will you use this for, do you think? Because you're not really doing on-set type stuff.
Yeah, and they definitely have their limitations for the kinds of things I want to do. Because the first time anyone mentioned them to me was we were talking about my basement, where I'm doing a renovation. I'm putting in all Philips Hue bulbs as smart lighting. And really, I was trying to solve a problem of I need bright bulbs for filmmaking, and I need to be able to control the color. And Hue lets me control the color. But Hue has their own problems that we've encountered. Like they have flicker issues. We've discovered they must flicker at like 1/1000th of a second, which means that I've often been shooting at a 1/100th of a second shutter, which seems to solve it.
Yep.
So when we were talking about what bulbs I should put in, we got some suggestions about these because these have been out for the last, year or 6 months or so. And several people said you should get the Aputure B7C bulbs because they're essentially smart bulbs, but made for filmmakers. But they really would not work in a household smart lighting situation because one, they don't communicate with any of the like regular protocols. These are Bluetooth controlled.
Siri and Google and Alexa and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't think
that's really not, and that's just not what they're for, right?
Right. I'm sure someone could be smart enough to figure out how to make them work with those things, but they communicate through Bluetooth to an app called Sidus Link, which I believe Aputure made. So it's like a special app just for these bulbs or for any of Aputure's lights. And also the other thing I noticed is like their power on and off behavior is a little bit different than a normal bulb, which actually is kind of cool for on set, but makes them less useful for in your house.
Oh yeah, because I'm trying to think. So if like you have it in a real fixture with power and the actor turns it off, does the light just stay on? Because that might be weird. You'd have to like time it or something.
Right. What's weird is that if you turn off all these bulbs and then I put them in this box, I flip on the switch, they all turn on when they get power. Like that's their when they feel power, they decide, oh, we're supposed to turn on right now. But then when you turn off the power, they all go, well, I have a battery, so let me just switch to my battery. It's like they're intended to not lose power. So in a way, they'd be really fun to like put in a place, if you were losing power a lot in your home, you could use these bulbs and they would, I guess they would just stay charged all the time as long as they had a current. And then when your power went out, they would stay on. They flick off for a second when that happens, so like a split second, and then they're back on. But it means that you actually can't turn them off with a light switch or with cutting the power. You actually have to turn them off through the app, or they actually have a little power button on the side. Also, they're $70 a piece. I doubt you want to put them in your home for normal lighting.
And because you don't have to plug them in then, so you could use them like as accent lights or something, right? And like go just kind of set them places?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could just put them on the floor.
I mean, why not, right?
Yeah, or I suppose you could even make a fixture that doesn't have any power to it. Like I'm thinking about how I might use these. These could be a really interesting backdrop maybe for the podcast. Maybe I put them behind me. I assume I'd want them in an actual wired fixture so that they stay charged. That's kind of been my main concern. Like right now, we want to shoot the podcast, and I had to remember 20 minutes ago to plug this box in and make sure they're all fully charged. I think they probably were, but they do drain unless I like fully power them off. Like they're always kind of like available.
Oh, you mean just while they're sitting in the box or whatever?
Yeah, because I think they're always kind of in like a ready to go mode. Like, is the app gonna command me to turn on?
Do you know what's the battery life on? Like if they're fully charged, like will they work for a whole day on set, or do you think they have
I think they last for hours.
Get charged?
Let me pull up the Sidus Link app right now and see what it says. It gives you a nice little status on each of these. So like right now I just clicked on it and it's loading up my 8 bulbs. It does take a second for it to connect with all of them. And here they all are. I can switch them all off, switch them all on. These are all colors that Peter picked. By the way, he pretty much
he
just
must
wanted
have enjoyed that.
The full rainbow of colors, yeah. But yeah, it tells me that 7 of them are plugged into AC power, and it tells me that the last one, which I don't think I have on full power right now, it tells me I can get 4.5 hours out of it.
Oh wow!
But I think it's because I'm on a lower power.
If you don't have it on the whole time, yeah, it would last quite a while.
Okay, I just went to full brightness, and let's see. I assume it'll update. Oh, now it says 1 hour.
Okay.
But I don't even think it's fully charged.
And how bright is full brightness? Is it pretty bright?
Actually, it looks pretty bright. I have it on kind of a cool light setting right now, and it looks really bright. I'm actually impressed that it looks so bright because I think these are only 570 lumens. So they're actually less than a Philips bulb. A Philips bulb is 800 lumens.
Oh, interesting. I would have thought they would be higher.
I know, you would think so, but I guess, they had to cram so much technology in here, and maybe...
Well, and it sounds like they're really not meant to be like a key light. It's
right, you're not
really
going to light your source. Yeah, they're an accent light. And that's probably the key here is that, well, I shouldn't use that word, but as an accent light, you don't want it to be, right now I'm way overexposed on this. I should knock my shutter down. Let's do that a little bit here. Yeah, actually, I'm still, like, even when I really lower my shutter, I'm still overexposed on this bulb. But if this was in a lampshade...
So it's plenty bright.
Yeah, plenty bright for an accent. Yeah, I even have an ND filter on my lens right now, and I'm still way overexposed. So this is plenty for...
Can you program any kind of, like, like motion lights between all the lights? Like have them flicker or change colors or anything?
Yes, the Sidus Link app can do, like... It can simulate fireworks or television, all those like standard scenes that you expect to find in a
like a brownout or blackout type of a
I think all that stuff is in there. Cool. I mean the Sidus Link app, there are times when it's frustrating because it's not completely user friendly. Like just adding the bulbs was a little bit confusing, or how to start that process. Like there's a few places where they could improve the user interface, but generally it seems like a really powerful app that you can do a lot of stuff with, and I have not investigated all of it. In fact, I'll probably never use. I do not see myself using like the television flicker feature. I'll probably just use these lights pretty normally.
Yeah, it makes sense.
They're also pretty heavy. They're about 3 times heavier than a Philips Hue bulb. Although I guess they.
That's this battery, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. Although now that I look at them, like they're real thick, but they're not actually. They're just a little bit taller. They're not gigantic. I guess.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't want him to look weird in a fixture, so that's probably good.
But I haven't done a full flicker test, but I just quickly pulled out my iPhone and put it into slow-mo mode and did it right next to the Philips Hue, and sure enough, the Philips Hue was just flickering like crazy. The aperture light, I was getting a visible, like, those like rolling shutter lines.
Yeah.
So they're clearly not, perfectly flicker free, but they look like they're probably pretty good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that might be not as bad on your bigger cameras too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you had a global shutter camera, maybe there's no flicker on these bulbs. I don't know what refresh rate they got that they managed to get this to, or how they solved the flicker issue, but it looks like it's pretty good. And I would think if it was in like a, I only saw those shutter lines when I was pointing the camera right at the bulb. When they're all mixed together, you might not see it, and maybe you wouldn't see it inside a shade. I don't know. I'll have to do some more testing with this.
Sounds like a fun toy, though.
Yeah. And what's funny is this box that they come in, you're so used to like everything that you have electronics wise charges through USB-C, or it's all like, like low amperage and low voltage. You could never get like electrocuted from charging your iPhone, probably. But it's just funny to think that this box has like a fuse built in, because it's like when you're plugging in the bulbs, it's just full 120 volts. Like it seems silly. Of course, that's how they have to charge, but it's just funny that we're so used to like electronics being very safe. And
and this is like legit 120 volt AC.
Yeah, I mean, actually, they made it pretty safe. Like the little like tension spot you plug in, there is a little plastic thing in the bottom that's spring loaded. So if I did stick my finger in, I wouldn't be able to touch the hot conductor. But if I pushed it all the way down, I would be touching. Well, maybe I wouldn't quite touch it, but so they put some safety in there. But it is just funny to think that, like, yes, this is a box that could electrocute me, which is why it has a fuse built in, which is not something that your consumer electronics normally have that problem.
And I just pulled it up on B&H. Looks like the set with the case is like $800. Does that sound right?
Yeah. So I guess really you're paying, I think it's $70 a light, or maybe it's $80 a light. Let's see.
An individual bulb is $70.
Okay, 70. So yeah, if you're paying 70 times 8 bulbs, it's $560 for all of those, and then what did we say? It's $800 for the whole kit. So actually, the box is pretty expensive. $240 for the box.
Box is pretty expensive. But I mean, it sounds like it's a nice box. You really like the box.
Yeah, I mean, you might spend $100 on a Pelican case this size.
And this one charges.
Yeah.
Well, that's a fun toy.
Yeah. So I guess I'd love some ideas, maybe in the comments, about how I might use these as an accent in the background. Like, I need to figure out I'd love to use all 8 of them if I could. Like, what kind of lighting fixture could I put behind me that would hold 8 bulbs in an interesting way? I mean, an easy thing would just be to buy one of those.
Pile them on the floor and
Right.
make them go crazy.
Yeah. I just have to plan my shoots to maximize battery life, I guess, if I do that. Or I could just buy one of those like string lights that you put in your yard, like the fixture.
Oh, yeah. And just hang them from that.
Yeah, you could hang them.
So many choices.
But yeah, I can't see myself like putting them in my fixtures on the ceiling because of that weird behavior. Like I couldn't use them as a daily light. They really seem like all the features they have, they really seem like they're optimized to be portable to take with you somewhere that you've never been, but they don't seem really set up to use.
Convert a space into a shoot.
Yeah. Which is why it's good they come with the case.
It sounds like they do that pretty well.
Yeah. So I should probably do like a full review of these, but I had them here and wanted to talk about them today. Also, I should just give you an update on the renovation. We're real close. I think maybe next time I record the podcast, I'll be down in my new office because they were putting in outlets today, putting in the light fixtures today. And
do you have have you bought a desk for down there, or is it built in, or what are you doing for a desk?
I mean, right now I have this desk in front of me. I'll take down with me. I may eventually replace it. The only thing I was thinking about was, it's funny that I care so much about this. I really don't want to have to change the direction that I face the camera for this podcast.
Yeah, okay.
Because we've done it in the past. You know, there were many episodes where I had to be looking the other direction, and so maybe I would flip your shot. I hate flipping your shot though, because you have so many things in the background that have words on them, or sometimes you wear a hat or a shirt that has a logo that that can't be reversed, or a word.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. But going to my new space, I think one way to set it up would be to have me face the other direction, but that poses so many issues because then I have to flip you, or I'd have to flip me all the time, and I don't want to do that. So I thought about it and realized it's always a little bit crowded here to bring my microphone in front of my computer, and it's a little bit awkward to like move my mouse around. And so I thought what I should do is I should set up my desk normal with my iMac in the middle, but then when I record the podcast, I should just move. I'm going to want to show a different direction of the room anyway. So I should just move to the short end of my desk, like go 90 degrees.
Okay, like the side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just perform the podcast on that end of my desk and get this like beautiful shot that's pointed that way.
With the deep background and everything.
And rather than like trying to adjust my camera and my iMac, I ended up just buying I feel like this thing was only like $30 or something, a big metal laptop stand that can raise my MacBook up like
there you go,
a foot and a half. So that way,
or you could buy one of these new iMacs that just got released that are like super thin and light.
Right? Yeah, just get a second iMac.
Spin it around, super easy.
I actually already have a second iMac. I have an older iMac that I don't really know how I want to use in my new space, but I don't think I want two iMacs on my desk, especially if one's pointing 90 degrees the wrong way. That just
yeah, no, I was just joking.
Yeah, no, I mean that's definitely one way I could do it. But I figured, why don't I just leave my microphone at the end of the desk, leave my laptop over there, and that'll be a lot easier.
Have you thought about? You'd have to get a new iMac because I don't think you can convert them. But I've seen people with iMacs on a monitor arm like this where you could move it around, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah. I just figured, I already have this situation where the camera is sitting right on top of my iMac, and so I can barely move the computer without, messing up the little tripod behind it. And so it would just be easier to kind of leave the camera roughly where it is, but just turn it and leave it facing that way. I also do, a daily Zoom meeting for work, and I use this camera and this setup, and it'd be nice just to not have to, change it up all the time. I could just move my chair 90 degrees and do the meeting and then go back to work.
I love it.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is then you can't, I guess if you have your MacBook, I was going to say, surf the web while you're in a boring meeting, but.
Right. Yeah, no, I think the laptop will allow me to do all that, yeah. We'll see. This is all a new space. I have to figure out how it's all going to work for me, but hopefully I'll have a much more interesting shot than part of my bedroom, which is what's been happening for the last few months. After our quick sponsor break, we're going to talk about the new product launch that you may have heard about, and I bet Nick is pretty excited to learn some details.
Handy Filmmakers is brought to you by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your filmmaking business.
I have so many things going on in my world right now. My new office, the new camera that was just released this week, all the new videos I'm making for work. And that's why I love having my Squarespace site. I have one repository for all the stories that I want to tell. It's a lot of information I'm trying to get out to the world, and I can't do it all through social media. So I love having one site. You can go right to griffinhammond.com to get all the information that I want to put out to the world.
So check out squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Griffin to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. So, there's a new camera, you say?
Yeah,
give me the deets. I need the sweet details.
Just this week, Panasonic announced their new Lumix GH5 Mark II, and they also announced the GH6 coming out later this year. But I have a Mark II right here.
Ooh, all right. So lay it on me. What's different? What's best? What's exciting?
Well, I really can't tell you much, Nick, because we're recording this right before the embargo releases. The camera has already come out.
Who planned this?
But I mean,
that's not fair.
I have a relationship with Panasonic I want to uphold. I really can't tell you all the details, Nick. It's too early.
So you're just gonna tease me. You're gonna show me a sweet new camera. They did not send me a camera.
No.
Just, hey, if somebody wants to send me one, I'll happily talk about it.
But yeah,
all right, fine. So when will you tell me? Are you gonna make a little video? Are you gonna give me some information here soon?
Well, if you missed it, on Tuesday this week, Panasonic had their launch video. It had me in it talking about the camera with some shots from a film that I shot with the camera. And my hope is, we'll see what happens by the time I put this episode out, but my hope is to also have a video about the new GH5 Mark II. And I guess I just wanted to put it out here right now, even though I can't tell you anything in this recording, Nick. I at least wanted to acknowledge that this came out, and if anyone has any questions about this new camera, we can talk about it by the time you're watching this video. I can answer those questions.
All right. So maybe next podcast episode we'll deep dive.
Yeah,
so put your questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to know about the new camera, and then maybe Griffin will deign to tell me a few nuggets of information next time.
Yeah.
It's not cool, but hey, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, you're my good friend, but I can't break the trust of a company that I have a good relationship with.
All right, that's fine. I get it. I look forward to your detailed video.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
Well, until then, my friend.
Yeah. I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Are we getting worse at wrapping up the podcast? It seems like we always have trouble.
It's because I don't actually want to let you go. I just want to keep talking.
So sweet.